Hello and happy week 170. Is it happy? I don't know. You tell me. I'm pretty happy. I'm happy all the time. Literally, the sky could be falling and I'd be the happiest guy in the world. But that is just how I have programmed myself. Welcome to the Real Estate Raccoons. Today we're going to talk about week 170, what happened in the past 7 days of real estate sales in Toronto in 5 very specific communities, starting with the downtown, moving into the luxury communities I called North Urban, Rosedale, Lawrence Park, all the way through to the 401, those communities there. And of course, Leaside, Davisville, Yonge and Egg. We talk about the Kingston Road corridor from essentially the Cliffside area all the way up to the Port Union area, and Birchcliff, of course, which is just the western portion of that Kingston Road corridor. But it's very important to isolate Birchcliff. Some call it Lawrence Park East. Listen, stuff's selling for a lot of money there, so why not? Speaking of a lot of money, stuff's selling for a lot of money kind of everywhere right now, even though things have slowed down a little bit. I don't know how closely you're watching the market right now, but 9 of the top sales of houses that happened in our urban markets went over the already what I thought was a pretty high list price. So there's a ton of activity in those upper end luxury homes. And if you've been looking online, look up a property called 34 Salter Street in Leslieville. Listen, 34 Salter is a unique unicorn type of property. It's like 35 feet wide, nice and deep, beautiful 5-bedroom, like perfectly renovated house. Love it. Brewery practically in your backyard. Amazing. However, there's like a giant condo going up right across the street. So anyway, people look past that stuff and made it happen and spent, $4.1 million on the already high $3.7 million list price. So, who are we to judge what's high and what's not? Honestly, it made sense to this buyer, whether they're a family, an investor, or whatever. And so it doesn't really matter if it makes sense to you or not. And that's the beautiful thing about anything, really. You can have an opinion on something, but at the end of the day, it really just doesn't matter. If you're expecting some sort of reaction from your opinion, well, that's more of a selfish situation that you should probably get over and let people do their thing. You know what I mean? So week 170 was, I don't even know if it's expected, but, sales are up. I ran the months of inventory numbers for all the communities, and just pulling from my notes over here, I expected to see the MOI figure essentially go up across the board. But, looking here, we've got urban north luxury condos decreased in months of inventory. And those condos, we're talking the Lawrence Park, there aren't a ton of condos here, but there are enough, and there are more coming. This is the one area that's kind of reacted oppositely to how the rest of the market has been doing. It's never really an area that has a huge influx of supply or a massive pullback in supply. It's just been steady Eddie from start to finish, because honestly, this market is mainly supplied with buyers that are local downsizers or whatever, however you have it. Either way, months of inventory statistic is down there. Leaside condos like the Davisville, Yonge and Egg area, months of inventory is down. And when you just think about how many condos exist in the Yonge and Eglinton area and how many new condos have been added and are currently being added, the fact that that area is still thriving and prices have been relatively stable. And remember that Yonge and Egg, Leaside, Davisville area, those condos performed most stably during COVID and outperformed most other condos as we were coming out of some of the down markets. So many of you like to hate on all the condos that are going up there and claiming that, whatever it is you're saying, I really don't have time to listen to it. The market's doing very well, and there's still a lot of demand there because there is just so much rental demand there. There's lots of end user demand there. There's lots of attention from places outside of Toronto there. Yonge and Egg, I don't know if it's still the case. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it used to be where most of the ESL programs were, a lot of the English as a second language schools that international students would come to learn English. So it's an area that has exposure globally, which would explain why it's doing as well as it is. There's a lot of people coming in there. Birchcliff houses. This is the only category where houses decreased in terms of months of inventory. Birchcliff, not a surprise. We've been talking about Birchcliff and Leaside specifically as chronically undersupplied. And of course, the Kingston Road corridor, which is just having like a newly developed condo life built into Kingston Road. I mean, merge condos where Kingston Road and Danforth kind of, well, split if you're going east or merge if you're going or you know what I mean, merge or split depending on which way you're going. That condo has just come online with occupancies just starting. We should start to see some resales there soon to really better supply the condo numbers for that area. But that's not the most interesting part. For me, and one of the reasons why we ultimately ended up not taking an offer on our house, I had my house on the market, which we had bought along that Kingston Road corridor not that long ago, about 2 years ago, but we wanted to make some lifestyle moves. So we were put it on the market, and the offer we got, although it was great, it was a couple $100,000 more than what we paid for the house just 2 years ago. It just wasn't enough for us to let the gem go, knowing what was happening along Kingston Road. At any time, once first of all, if you have any sort of preconceived idea of what Scarborough is, I would really ask you where that comes from. Like, do you use words like Scarberia, Scarlum? Do you have a negative opinion on Scarborough in general? I would ask that you actually spend some more time in Scarborough along the Kingston Road corridor and really ask yourself where those biases come from, where you immediately think of Scarborough as something negative. Really ask yourself that, because it's not coming from a good place, and it's really bothering me a lot. Not just because I live there, but because I see too many people discounting that area and not looking at it as an option when it can be one of the best decisions you make for a home, lifestyle-wise, but also for investment potential. Every single one of those motels along Kingston Road, remember Lakeshore West back in the day, where it's like condo land now and prices have essentially tripled over the past 15 years? That's Kingston Road East right now. Remember Corktown like 10, 15 years ago? You didn't want to stop your car in Corktown. Corktown was a place that you had to go through to get downtown, or you had to go through to get to Leslieville or Riverside or wherever else you're going, the beaches on the east side. You did not stop in Corktown. People treat Kingston Road the same as like a commuter route. You're coming from Pickering, you're going to Pickering, whatever it is you're doing, but now people are stopping along Kingston Road, and every single one of those motels has a development application into the city right now. There are going to be thousands of new condos from Cliffside all the way through to Port Union, with hundreds already under construction right now. The houses in those neighborhoods are slowly starting to creep up in value to the point where you really can't get much for less than $1 million anymore. So all of this is so similar to what happened with the Lakeshore West area, just around the Etobicoke, that, whatever you call that area, I don't spend much time there, and Corktown. Everybody that invested in those areas back in the day is doing incredibly well now. Anybody that invests along the Kingston Road corridor will be doing incredibly well down the road as well. Whether you're investing in a freehold product, like your home or an investment house, or whether you buy a pre-construction condo in that Kingston Road area, as well as there's a new condo coming up at Erin Mills, by Erin Mills Parkway, called the 900, which I'm actually a pretty big fan of too. I don't love pre-construction like across the board, and that's kind of the problem. Like when I say something like that, it triggers the hell out of people that sell and market these projects, because they don't like that I pick and choose which projects to sell. And because I pick and choose which projects to sell, I don't always get that top of the line access to floor plans, which is why I partner with other pre-construction agents that do, so we can get you guys what you want. So personally, I'm looking forward to investing along Kingston Road. I'm looking forward to investing in the 900 project that's on the west side of town. I am really, really excited about the opportunity available along Kingston Road right now, and hopefully you are too. But this isn't really a sales pitch for new condos. Pre-construction there makes sense. It doesn't really make sense for me downtown right now. I'm sorry. It just does not make sense to buy pre-construction for me downtown right now. I'm sure people are doing it, but whatever. To each their own. I don't really have an opinion if you do it or not. It's just not for me or my clients at the moment. But the main point I wanted to get at is tomorrow. which is the interest rate announcement from the Bank of Canada. And tomorrow being June the 7th, today is Tuesday, June the 6th. It's around 11, 12 o'clock right now. Oh, I've got a meeting in 10 minutes. I got to speed this up. So the most important thing right now is to not really pay too much attention to what might happen tomorrow. It's a super important announcement, I guess, but there's been so much noise about it. But considering the lull that I thought we were going into, which we still could go into if there is an increase tomorrow, that lull is taking a while to show up. Even though the signals were present 4 weeks ago, it's still taking a little while to show up. Right now, all I know is that there are properties that have been positioned for multiple offers that aren't getting it 100% of the time. So those ones are being relisted and then put back on the market. Others are selling like hotcakes on the night they're expected to sell. We did it last night at 72 Rushbrook. We had that house sell. However, our other property, 196 Lippincott, which was taking offers on the same night, did get 2 offers, but they weren't quite good enough for the seller. So that's being relisted today for a higher price. So we're seeing that happen more and more and more and more and more. And it's going to continue to happen whether there's an increase in rates tomorrow or not. The increase in rates would probably speed up that lull because the buyer sentiment would kind of weaken. People would be like, you know what, it's summer, let's just chill, ride this out, see what happens in July. But honestly, I really don't think there is going to be an increase tomorrow. And even if there is, people have locked in pre-approvals that are active buyers. They will continue to be shopping months after June. And what we've learned over the past year or however long we've been going through this interesting market is that these normal market cycles still exist regardless of what's happening externally. These external factors, inflation, interest rates, etc., just kind of speed up the normal processes that already exist. Long term, we're all going to be just fine. I'm really confident in that. And if you're not, and you're going to bet against Toronto long term, I've got a hard time understanding where you're coming from other than an emotional place that doesn't really make much sense. You know, it's kind of like believing that Toronto is going to be affordable again. It's just not, right? Which kind of leads me to the next hot topic that we'll probably talk a lot more about is the mayoral race. Every single mayor I have heard discuss affordability is just using bullshit buzzwords that don't really mean anything. Everybody's going around talking about, they're going to hike our taxes. They're going to hike our taxes. Well, the one tax I agree with hiking is the vacancy tax from 1% to 3%. First of all, that 1%, the vacancy tax in general, did not raise as much money as the city of Toronto hoped it would raise. Secondly, raising that to 3% really only affects the small group of people that can likely absorb that kind of hit. Nobody's leaving a house vacant if they're financially strapped, voluntarily anyway. So I'm 100% for that. Property taxes. We are taxed probably at the lowest rate. I haven't even researched this, and I probably should, but Toronto's property taxes are incredibly low when compared to even Durham region, as an example, or anywhere else in North America or the world, really. Our property taxes are quite low. And I actually want to dig into that and find out the actual numbers. So I can't say lowest in the world, but really, really low in considering. So we could potentially bump up that a little bit. But should homeowners really take on the responsibility of providing affordable housing, just homeowners? I think there's another way to do that, and I don't know what. But we can't talk about affordability in the context of buying. That conversation just needs to stop. You will not have the same experience your parents did today. Okay? I don't know how many more times I have to say that. You're not owed that right. And the fact that some people think they're entitled to it is flipping outrageous to me. You have to understand there is a different path in real estate today than there was before. So why do people keep going on about the fact, it's so sad. It's so sad. My kids aren't going to be able to do the same thing that I did. Like that, what's sad is you passing on that victim, that mentality to your kids. What would be amazing is if you showed your kids a path to getting what they want, taking perhaps a different route. Is it buying in a different city, allowing some equity to build up, and then moving that here into Toronto when the time comes or when things line up for you? There are so many different paths that I've talked through with so many different people, but some are just so just hell-bent on being in this negative place. It just drives me up the wall. And no mayor is going to fix your real estate affordability problem. The one thing that should be focused on is making sure that people and families not only have a place to live, but a safe place to live. and housing the unhoused. How do do you do that by just providing housing? There has to be a balance between providing housing and mental health care, because people don't choose to be on the street. Of course, I'm sure there are some people that choose to be on the street, but the majority of people that are homeless are there because they just don't fit into society in general, because of whatever the way their brain works, the way they're wired. It's not a normal thing to want to live on the street. So you can't just say, oh, here, take this condo, it's yours now. What do you think would happen to that condo without the proper mental health care some of these people need? So it's such a complicated issue that just gets so simplified unnecessarily into buzzwords to get your vote. You've got the Chris Skies of the world, and I can't even believe I'm giving this idiot any airtime, who has some sort of beef against 15-minute cities, thinking you're going to be locked down into buildings and not be able to leave. Like, there are so many absolute Neanderthals running for mayor. Giorgio Mammoliti is one of them. This Chris Sky guy is another. There's some guy named something Hong or Bong in, what's his name? Something Hong, or the last name is Bong. Whatever. I can't remember exactly what it is, but he wants to rescue Toronto. Like, rescue Toronto from what? You know, like, it's such a frustrating thing. Who's a reasonable candidate out there right now? Is Olivia Chow a reasonable candidate? My personal preference right now, this woman named Chloe Brown, a Scarborough native, who really speaks so real. There's no buzzwords in this woman's entire vocabulary. She's just raw and real. I'm going to recommend you look her up and do some research into her. On Monday, the Urban Land Institute actually has a mayoral showdown about how each mayor's platform will affect housing in Toronto. So that'd be very interesting. Just Google the Urban Land Institute, June 12th mayoral debate or whatever it is. I'm going to be there. Actually, I can't be there in person. There's no seats left. I'm going to be there virtually. You should be there too. I'll link it below in the comments. Anyway, back to Toronto real estate. Things are moving along. If you're a buyer, you're probably in competition sometimes and not in others. It's really tough to tell. Depends on the neighborhood you're looking in. Some investors seem to be selling some good investment properties right now. So there are some decent investment properties in the market that we've seen for some clients right now. So if you're in the market for that sort of thing, give me a call. And there's one person that's watching this video that I owe an email to with a breakdown of these investment properties. I got you. It's coming, just a couple days late. My apologies. But anyway, that's enough ranting for one day. I really want you to subscribe down here. Real Estate Raccoons really appreciates your support. We have expanded into Victoria, and we have 2 other expansion locations coming soon. So I'm pretty excited to share those with you. And if you're an agent that is looking to level up your career, we are ready at the Spring Team with a brand new coaching bootcamp program to help you go from zero to hero really quickly. So comment below, find my information. If you're resourceful enough to find my information, then you deserve a shot at this job here. So find me. Love y'all. See you soon. Ara Memorian, the Spring Team, Real Estate Raccoons. Let's go. See you guys next week.